Well, just a day after a morale-building win on the carbon tax, the government was today forced into a humiliating backdown. Offshore processing is over for the foreseeable future, and Julia Gillard says Tony Abbott must take the blame for future boat arrivals. The opposition leader says the Prime Minister's floundering and should call an election. Political correspondent Tom Eagleton reports on another day of high drama in Canberra.
A call that's been on the cards ever since the High Court ruled out the Malaysia solution.
I'm here with the Minister for Immigration to provide an update on immigration policy.
The update is that the government's stuck with what it's got, onshore processing of asylum claims. There are about 2,500 places left in detention centres and community detention. Once they're exhausted, bridging visas will be granted, allowing asylum seekers to live in the community, get jobs and apply for limited welfare support.
We're not going to start forecasting numbers, but we do believe there is a real risk that we may see more boats as a result of Mr Abbott preventing there being offshore processing arrangements.
Though today's been the logical outcome for weeks, the government's still undecided about exactly how its new policy will work.
So we are obviously giving consideration to the full set of policy tools that the Minister has at his disposal, and we'll have something more to say about those things in the weeks to come.
Look, the government, I don't think, even knows itself what it's doing at the moment. They're in a complete spin. They are humiliated and they've let the Australian people down.
The Immigration Minister's ruled out one option, bringing back the Howard government's temporary protection visa system.
There is no need for a new category because there's a range of bridging visas available.
The Malaysia solution's not completely dead. The government will still take refugees from there.
I have determined that we will honour the 4,000 places from Malaysia. We are intending to do that within our current humanitarian quota.
It's not now an increase on top of the humanitarian intake. It will simply be part of.
The Greens have signalled for weeks that they weren't going to allow the people swap legislation to pass the Senate. The government's been trying to win a symbolic victory by at least getting it passed in the lower house. Today, the vote it needed on the crossbench evaporated.
I will be supporting the opposition amendments today.
Several Labor backbenchers have never been comfortable with the Malaysia solution after Julia Gillard herself criticised offshore processing from opposition. But the Prime Minister was determined to push on.
Well, we will bring this legislation to the Parliament. I'm determined we will bring this legislation to the Parliament. We will bring this legislation to the Parliament.
Instead, the vote scheduled for today was pulled.
She knows that if the government tries to put its legislation to the Parliament, what will in fact happen is that this Parliament will effectively vote no confidence in this government. That's what... Well, bring it on. Rubbish, he says. Rubbish, he says. Well, bring it on. Bring it on.
The opposition leader sensed the ensuing policy backdown after the vote was canned.
Could the people swap legislation be about to bite the dust?
And he took full advantage of the government's failure to win even a symbolic victory.
What a shabby, miserable, divided and directionless government this rabble have become. Have your caucus meeting, but admit you don't know how to deal with this problem and call an election.
Order. Julia Gillard beat Tony Abbott into the lodge because of her powers of negotiation, but they failed her today, denying her a victory that would have been pretty hollow in any event. Many will question whether it was worth the gamble.
There was speculation, Dennis, about what would happen in the House of Representatives, but there was not certainty until Mr Crook announced his decision.
The government has clearly given up. They have raised the white flag when it comes to border protection. Instead, they've decided to fold their tent and capitulate to the policies of the Greens.
The Greens oppose mandatory detention but have won a significant victory by ending offshore processing. Carbon tax yesterday, you've got onshore processing today. How does it feel to be running the country?
Well, I'm not, and Sarah's not running the country, but what we are is running a very efficient, intelligent, humane and stable political party in a very unstable political climate in this Parliament.
They're already pushing the government about how it should run its new policy.
This is an opportunity not to miss. Don't stuff this up another time round.
Sage advice for a shattered government. Tom Eagleton, Late Line.